The moment Pennywise appears on screen, the tension becomes almost physical. It may seem like the story of It has already been told, adapted, and quoted countless times, but reality has proven otherwise. Interest in the sinister clown is not just alive, it's stronger than ever. The recently concluded series Welcome to Derry clearly demonstrated that audiences are still not ready to let go of this nightmarish world. The success was so significant that new projects within the franchise are already being discussed. The creators are cautiously talking about a continuation of the series, while producers are openly considering a full-fledged third feature film. That's why today we're taking a closer look at where the It universe could be headed, which creative decisions made the series stand out, and what hidden details helped expand Stephen King's mythology. Let's start with the numbers. Welcome to Derry had an exceptionally strong launch and quickly became one of the most successful premieres in HBO's history, surpassed only by giants like House of the Dragon and The Last of Us. But more important than the debut itself was the momentum that followed. With each new episode, viewership continued to grow, and the season finale set a record for US viewership in its first days of release. Although a second season has not yet been officially announced, few doubt that it's only a matter of time. The main uncertainty comes from the rights transition under Netflix, which could delay formal approvals. Even in the most optimistic scenario, however, continuation shouldn't be expected before 2027. The first season alone took nearly 2 years to produce, and the creators initially stated that the story was planned to span at least 3 seasons. Each season is intended to explore a different time period, not necessarily moving strictly forward. That's precisely why the series feels cohesive and carefully thought out. It doesn't copy the films or attempt to recreate their success through familiar scenes. Instead, the creators confidently follow their own path. From the very beginning, the audience is made aware that there are no safe characters. Those who initially seem like protagonists can disappear as early as the first episode. Each episode is constructed so that tension builds gradually. There are no random jump scares for the sake of it. Fear accumulates, the atmosphere thickens, and by the finale, it reaches its peak. Pennywise himself is not treated as a constant spectacle. The dancing clown doesn't appear until midway through the season, yet his presence is felt long before that. He lurks behind the scenes, reminding viewers of himself through subtle hints, unsettling moments, and an overwhelming sense of impending doom. In that regard, the series occasionally evokes comparisons to From, where the environment itself feels hostile. At the same time, Welcome to Derry doesn't limit itself to a single story. The writers integrate the show into King's broader universe, making it a prequel to several of his works. One of the key characters in this connection is Dick Hallorann. Fans of The Shining and Dr. Sleep will recognize him immediately. Hallorann possesses the ability known as the Shining and plays an important role in linking multiple stories together. In the season finale, he mentions plans to work as a cook at a hotel, a clear reference to the events of The Shining. Moreover, it was Hallorann who taught Danny Torrance how to control his abilities. Through this, the series carefully weaves several of King's narratives into a single continuity. Unsurprisingly, the actor portraying Hallorann has already expressed interest in returning for a potential spin-off. Perhaps the biggest news, however, is the discussion surrounding a third feature-length film. Producer Barbara Muschetti confirmed that the idea is currently in development. According to her, King's original novel leaves enough unanswered questions to allow for new stories, especially when exploring the true nature of Pennywise. and the series actively points in that direction. The final episode includes an unexpected cameo by Beverly, which not only ties the show directly to the films, but also recontextualizes a crucial moment from her past. The scene takes place in a hospital, where a woman takes her own life, leaving her husband and daughter in shock. When the camera lingers on the girl, it becomes clear that this is Beverly. While the films briefly mentioned her mother's death, this is the first time the event is shown on screen. The writers later explained that the scene wasn't included merely as an Easter egg. This tragedy became the root of Beverly's deepest fear. That's why Pennywise later assumes the form of Mrs. Kirsch in the films. He weaponizes the most painful image from her memory. As the story unfolds, more connections are revealed. For instance, it turns out that Margaret Truman is Richie's mother. She names her son after a friend who died in a fire, directly tying into events from the first film. An interesting detail is that both versions of Richie, from different timelines, react to Pennywise in the same defiant way, flipping him off. It's a visual rhyme that bridges generations. The series also finally provides a clear answer regarding the origin of the clown's appearance. Bob Gray was once a real person, a carnival performer. The entity killed him and adopted his form because it was the perfect disguise for luring children. The creators also explain why children are Pennywise's primary targets. They're more willing to believe in the impossible, which makes their fears deeper and therefore more powerful. Special attention is given to Pennywise's hibernation cycles. The creature enters a dormant state, submerged in blood and the remains of its victims. It also becomes clear that not all victims float in its lair. Many are simply consumed. Another major revelation explains why Pennywise cannot leave Derry. An ancient tribe created an energy barrier around the site of the meteorite's impact, effectively trapping the entity within the town. Fragments of that meteorite can injure the creature, a detail previously absent from the films. The most conceptually striking revelation, however, is how Pennywise perceives time. For the entity, past, present, and future exist simultaneously. It knows about its eventual defeat, yet continues moving toward it regardless. This opens enormous possibilities for future stories. A new season or film could take place in any era. Rather than a linear narrative, we're dealing with a branching mythology. Finally, the recurring imagery of turtles deserves mention. These are subtle references to Maturin, an ancient cosmic entity and Pennywise's counterpart. The creators chose not to introduce Maturin directly, but carefully scattered symbolic nods throughout the series. In the end, Welcome to Derry turned out to be far more than just a prequel. It's a dark, atmospheric, and thoughtfully crafted expansion of Stephen King's universe, one that respects the source material while offering something genuinely new. If you haven't watched the series yet, now is the perfect time to do so. And if you already have, be sure to share your thoughts in the comments on this reimagining of Pennywise's story.